Hey, welcome to the sit down. I'm your man Rod Love, and with me this evening on the sit down is none other than Sister Wynn. Sister Wynn, how you doing this evening?
I am doing well. How about yourself, Mr.
Man,
Rose?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. I'm doing fantastic. And we have none other than the Doc Polite without the brim tonight. Did I rhyme?
Yes, you did.
Hey Doc, how you doing this evening, man?
Always got to stand by.
Hey, you know what? Doc, I gotta give it to you, brother. You branded something here because every time I say he doesn't have that brim,
Yes.
he pulls a new one or a different one that matches the outfit. So, hey, brother, you got something going on. But hey, how the both of y'all been doing? How was the weekend?
My weekend was wonderful. Sat around yesterday and watched this little
Little League.
league.
Hey, Lake Mary, Florida.
Yeah.
Congratulations to Lake Mary Little League.
Yay.
Hey, and when I tell you, them young fellas was balling. But you know what I like? The best thing about the whole Little League
Mm-hmm.
is that them young fellas, and I mean all of those kids did a great job.
Mm-hmm.
But those kids from Lake Mary, Florida.
Florida.
Hey, guess what? Guess what they
Johnny
were?
Mac.
Yeah, but guess what they were able to do? They won with style and class.
Yes. Now the best part for me was once they won, instead of celebrating, they went to console the
Yeah,
other team.
yeah.
Seeing them crying, went to give them hugs before
You,
they
you, you, you
celebrated.
know what? And I know, Doc, you picked this up, but some of those coaches or parents or even those kids themselves, they took time to understand their culture.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw some of the kids when they went in the line to congratulate each other,
Mm-hmm.
and I saw some of the kids,
Yes, yes, yes.
hey, from a cultural standpoint, somebody educated them or they educated themselves to
Mm-hmm.
understand respect,
Yes,
to understand class.
yes,
And boy, they did it big.
yes, they did. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Hey, Brother Mondo, where them applause at? There you go. Doc, did you get a chance to check it out?
Yeah, it was all right. I,
All
you
right.
know, I,
All right.
See,
I always, I always find, hey, listen,
I'm not even into baseball, but
I always find myself being the
hey,
voice
Doc,
of the
oh,
old
you
people,
muted.
huh? I'm muted.
Now we can hear you.
Oh, no, no. See, he messed up my rhythm, Cree. See what he did to me? Threw me off river.
So
But listen,
because he was talking
he knew I was going to say
about
something. Hey, he knew I was going to say something wild. I mean, it's nice that they won, but you know, watching the people console them. Um, I, are we teaching kids to be too soft?
no.
I get where you're going, Doc, but I'm not going where you're going.
I know y'all never do. So I'm gonna say it. It was good. The best team won. That's what sports is about. Everybody can get a participation trophy.
Correct.
Yeah.
And, and,
But Doc, see, Doc got us going there. Doc started us because we can't even start the agenda. But Doc,
I'm just saying.
Doc, did you ever play any sport?
I played football and I played basketball.
Okay. Well, then you know that if you put your heart in it and you leave it all on the field,
That's it.
And I,
that
I ain't never had the other coach. Thank you, babe. Uh, I never had the other coach come over and say, "Oh, we sorry we beat y'all."
Doc, you keep
I'm
going in and
just
out.
saying. I'm just saying.
We didn't hear what you said.
I said we never had the other coach come over and hug us and tell us don't cry.
Yeah, I don't know
I don't know what to say.
When we lost, we had to go back to the practice field and do gassers.
Well. See, I will say that I played Pop Warner. I played junior high. I played high school. When I say junior high school was JV,
Yes.
and then I played college. And I will say to you, uh, in every step of competitive sports that I played,
Mm-hmm.
because I left it on the field.
Mm-hmm.
I've had coaches come over and say, "Man, you
Yes.
played some ball, even when
Yes.
we lost.
Yes.
When we
Yes.
won, it was even
Yes.
better because they come over and be like, hey, we don't want to play against y'all no more."
But
But
But did they give you a hug?
Stop.
See, the difference then, the difference back then is.
See, y'all in y'all feelings. Queen, you all in your feelings.
No, but I'm gonna tell you, Doc, the difference between now and then, because we're talking generations here. Back then, what the coaches used to do to us, they don't do it now because our coaches used to, you do good, they slap you on the helmet. Now you hit a kid on his helmet. Now, there's gonna be a protest. So Doc, yeah, we were.
Yeah, and I'm just telling my age from my perspective, because it's like old people used to say, "I'm gonna beat the devil out you." Them kids that cut up, and they tried, and you got tired. I mean, there's something for everything. There's a borderline of absolute abuse. I'm not with that, but I think that we are teaching our kids that the world is fair. They have an expectation now when they get out in the world that somehow other people are concerned about them and for them, and that's not true. So we are having kids meltdown and not being realistic. They don't know how to self-soothe. They don't know how to cope with disappointment.
Congratulating a team, Doc, to
Yeah. See,
a whole nother topic.
See, with Doc, you gotta almost do like you do with a public records request. Let me be a little bit more specific. What did you like about the Little League World Series?
I like that Lake Mary won. Nothing against Lake Mary. I'm just, I think about the entirety of things. I don't just look at one thing and say, well, they won. You understand what I'm saying? I'm looking at the whole. That's how my brain works.
Yeah, the struggle.
Yeah.
And then when it looked like they may not have been able, because they went all the way, I think it was to the 6th inning before they scored.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they tied it up in the 6th inning, and then in the 8th inning is when they won the game.
And see, and think about the amount of gravitas that it takes, because as a kid, you see yourself losing like that. You're in the 6th inning.
That game was incredible. I mean, when I say those kids had class,
they didn't lose their composure. They didn't lose their composure. They didn't lose their focus, and that's discipline. See, discipline gives you that. Whining and running around looking for mama ain't gonna never equip you.
I said that's teamwork. That's all the players coming together as a team.
But from a holistic standpoint, and you're right on point, and to go with what Doc is saying, but Doc, here's some things, and we'll get to our agenda here. For those of you who are watching, you're watching the sit down. I'm your man, Rod Love. We got Sister Wynn here. We got Dr. Light. But what you're hearing, the sit down, is brought to you every Monday from 6 to 6:45. We bring to you other organizations from communities that are providing some type of service. They come in to educate you so that you know how to access their services, so that you can be informed by those organizations. But also, between Dr. Light and Sister Wynn, we're here to break down a few facets that we think can be helpful as well. But just kind of going back, because we cannot gloss over those Lake Mary Little League and the parade. For those of you, and we don't have the exact time, it's gonna be this Saturday. And boy, I tell you, we're gonna show some love.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, I just got a notice from Mondo about my microphone. Is that better?
Sounds good. All right.
Okay.
That's good. Hey, Doc.
All right. Yes, sir.
Enjoy this conversation. But when is Halloween? What month?
October.
So that's right around the corner.
Right.
What color is that? I don't know, man. What is that? To your right? Yeah. What color is that?
That's green.
Okay. So we know what you dressing up in Halloween.
What?
You're gonna be the Grinch.
That's Christmas. The Grinch in Halloween?
Hey.
No. See, y'all believe in warm fuzzies. I don't believe in warm fuzzies.
We ain't believing in no warm fuzzy.
Oh, it's so happy they nice, and everybody gets to play, everybody gets a ribbon, everybody gets a trophy. That's not life. That's not life. What is our job as parents? What is our job as
That's a
parents?
team sport. That's a team
I
sport.
understand that. I understand it. But team sport reflect corporate dynamics. It really does.
Doc,
Every
one.
every I get that. I get that.
Well, let me take a lead from something that you were saying when you talked about their composure and things of nature. The other thing, and this is this is suitable for the sit down. The other thing that I equate all of that to is the leadership of those coaches. I equate that to
Yes.
team unity. Hey, but you know what else I saw, and I appreciate the network showing it. The network also showed mothers and fathers sitting in the stands, and that leadership came from those mothers and those fathers. The discipline came from those mothers and fathers. You did not see those young people trying to show out. I mean, they highlighted their athletic abilities, but they did it with class.
They did.
Yes. Okay. Let's move on.
See,
Doc.
okay, all right. Okay, hey, so hey y'all, we got orders to go ahead and move on,
Hey, I'm gonna
hey,
do my Stevie Wonder.
and
Let's
that's
move
what we're gonna do.
on.
Hey,
Everybody got.
we have a special treat for you because hopefully next week we will have an illustration that we'll be working from, and this illustration will be showing you how we, I guess, build the body, if you would, based on uh, dynamics that attribute to a young person navigating uh, to build themselves up, whether it's coming out of poverty, whether it's coming out of a bad situation. But we're going through a process here that we'll be able to turn over to our audience. We talk about how tough it is to get mentors. Well, Doc, what is this? We've developed an avatar.
It's a triage. It's a triage scheme. Basically, we're looking at what could cause negative impact on this mentee. What are the things that's going to trip him up? What are the things that he's going to have to deal with and possibly overcome in order to uh, be successful in life? What are the
And giving
things? Yeah, and
and giving
understand.
advice,
Right,
recommendations, life
right.
experiences to get there. I'm gonna zoom through this so that we can catch up. But what we've covered so far was educational inequality. We've talked about that, but then we also talked about young people stepping their game up as well. When you know that you might be falling behind, or you want to get on even par, some of the things that you have to invest in yourself.
Self, yes,
We talked about violence and crime.
yes.
I mean, that also
It
comes
speaks
back.
for itself.
It speaks for itself, and it comes down to decision making, and you don't want to become a victim in that as well, and you don't want to become an assailant either.
That is true.
We talked about something we can all relate to when we talk about growing up in impoverished communities. Hey, you got a lot of great people that came up through poverty that went on to do some great things. So you just gotta, hey, put your ears back and move forward. Health disparities. This is one that Doc Polite and Sister Wynn and I got hung up on, and I'm not gonna hang us up on
Oh,
this
no,
right
no, no,
now.
no,
We,
no.
we, we may come back to this one day, but I'll leave y'all with this. There's this belief that some health disparities are behavior driven, while two other people believe that it's a combination of behavior. While it's a combination of behavior and disease. The other thing that we
Hey,
talked
that bus hurt.
We're not going. Nope.
That bus hurt. That bus hurt.
huh?
I say that bus hurt.
That bus hurt. See,
Yeah.
I didn't even say
No, that ain't
the two people. Um, we talked about family instability. Come on, we all have that experience in our
Yeah,
lives because as much as we love our family, sometimes boy, it's hard to bear.
it is.
Um, we talked about mass incarceration, and that's one
Right.
that I have varying opinions on that, but we're gonna
Yeah.
come back to that at some point or another and bring an expert in the studio. Youth programs. Doc Polite showed a youth program with these young people that have taken up a trade
Yes,
in
yes, yes.
plumbing, I think it was.
Yeah.
And then, Doc, at some point we got to come back. We're probably not gonna
Yeah.
have time tonight, but come back and show that. And then lack of mentorship and role models. That's why we're doing this, is because we're trying to fill a void. So with that being the case, Doc, if you would kick us off on the topic that we're going to jump into tonight, and that's limited economic opportunities.
Well, this weekend, I always do my research, and we African Americans are the second economic lowest economic group. You know who's first?
Who's that?
Native Americans and Alaskans, Alaskan natives. They are the most impoverished group in the U.S., and we are right above them. So we have to look at causation as well. And what we got to understand is there are some mechanisms that was a part of America at one point that prevented. We couldn't own land. In most states, we couldn't own land. Okay, we could not vote. We couldn't live certain places. We couldn't sell certain things. So those have always limited our economic growth. Unless
here's and tonight, man, I'm tired, so I'm not really trying to mix it up with you, but you pull it out of me. And what I like to ask you is this: I hear everything you're saying, and I don't dispute it.
Yeah.
But I guess my question to you would be this: we struggled, and you're right. How many years ago has that been? And not to say that the stigma from what has taken place over decades isn't still psychologically within us, but then moving us forward from the standpoint of being assertive and stepping forward. Where does that play a role in?
Well, you always have to look at environmental factors as well. I'm not saying that today that is the primary causation. I'm just reviewing where we are coming from, because we did have opportunities for success while during segregation. We had a lot of progress, but even that, as we know with Rosewood and Black Wall Street, even when we thrived on our own, there was destruction that was rained down upon us for having the audacity to strive. A lot of times, so we have always had the stigma of the target. Even when we're successful, there's a possibility. Now, the beautiful thing is that now we don't have that same thing. Now, but we have a deficit of understanding the need for group economics, group growth, group focus. So many of the people who are impoverished now are doing so because they have a consumer mindset. They've been taught or have not learned any economic strategies or tools to pull themselves up out of poverty. They will spend the majority of.
Where does it come from, that saying when we were growing up, you have to work as double hard as the next person next to you for you to be seen or heard?
And that is my point. I don't diminish anything that Doc is saying, but I will say, and I'm gonna go back to something Doc said earlier about having that woe was me mentality. That I don't have my kids have that woe was me mentality. I brought my kids up with the mentality of that they have to be 120% better than the person next to them, even if the person next to them happen to look like them.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
But we're not playing for participation.
Right.
Prize.
Right.
So, but most parents aren't about love. They're not Dr. Polite. You understand? You and I we talk about our kids, and the things that we've instilled in them, and it's crazy because all of my kids are go-getters. The only one I struggle with is you know who.
But
but
not to your
but
point. We
but
had a generation of
right.
kids raising kids, and that's where the
Yes,
break
that's what
came in.
break. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I can say that. I think we kind of focus on pitying ourselves. You know, so many of us have become victims. We claim victimhood. Victimhood has been lucrative. Our leadership, especially like the Democrats and their ilk, will readily tell you that you're disadvantaged. If
But
somebody tells you you disadvantaged all day and there's nothing else to counter that, you begin to believe that. So now we have 2, 3, 4 generations of people who have been told that they are disadvantaged. Listen to how black people say, well, you know, minority. Minority is the root word of minority is what? Minor. Why are you minor to someone?
yeah, but here's the thing. Here's the thing. I truly believe this. I believe what Doc is saying has merit, but
Hmm.
I also have to say that people don't realize I failed many a time. I
Hmm.
failed more times
Hmm.
than I've succeeded, and if every time I failed that I said, okay, I give, and I want to blame it on a process. And I'm
Hmm.
not going to lie, there's been processes that I've been locked out of the boardroom, and even being locked out of the boardroom, you still stand there and wait for a crack in that door if you don't kick it down.
Yes,
So
yes. And
my
I think also too, Mr. Love, we need to get out of that mindset where somebody owe you something.
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't owe you anything.
Oh my goodness.
I
I,
that's
I
just
thank you. I'm glad
oh
you said it. Yeah, I'm glad you said it. I'm so glad you said it because that he got to come back to the community and give back.
you keep going out.
I don't know. I don't know what it
What
is.
you
Say it
say,
one more.
Doc? What you
I
say?
say we always tell athletes you got to come and give back to the community.
Mm,
Why? That's my money.
Yeah,
I don't have to explain.
you're
I
right.
don't have to explain to you why that. I'm going to take care of the people who taking care of me, but I am no way, shape, and form in
obligated.
obligated.
Hey, Doc, but
Mm-hmm.
you know what the word is that is often forgotten
What's that?
in
What?
those folks. Whether you're an athlete and you went away, whether you just became a rocket scientist and you found your riches and you went away, and
Mm-hmm.
yet still you did something good for a place that you came from.
Mm-hmm.
One, two of the most valuable and important words that you seldomly hear is thank you.
Yo, that's true. That's the
Thank you.
but
That,
yeah,
that, that
yeah.
and
And another
classic.
word too, don't forget where you come from.
Yeah.
I don't forget where I come from, but just like Doc said,
That that
I'm not obligated.
that's a term of subjugation. They're trying to control you. Okay, when they tell you that, when they tell you don't forget where you come from, I hate that phrase. I hate it with a passion
Mm-hmm.
because I don't claim poverty. Okay, I'll never claim. I'm not gonna talk about the projects like projects for life and all that kind of stuff. No,
Mm-hmm.
okay, because that is not where I'm from.
Yeah.
Okay, that was a stage in my life that I lived there,
Yeah.
but I've transformed it. It's like me and Ron had a conversation, Quee, and I told him, you cannot go back. You are not the person
Yes.
that you used to be in your hood.
Yes.
You
That's
don't have anything in common with these people. I don't know why everybody black think that all black people know each other and we got to act the same way.
mm,
And you know
Your value.
what Doc is talking about, and it's so interesting because Doc started this conversation about I think maybe 6 months ago,
mm-hmm.
and Doc, he started trying to get clinical on me. But the fact of the matter is, we see black folk that have gone on and done some great things, and
Mm-hmm.
while they may have come out of the hood,
Mm-hmm.
when they left the hood to go to school, and they went on to achieve things,
Mm-hmm.
and now you look up and they're 50 years old,
Mm-hmm.
and then the light goes off in their head that they left the hood when they were a teen.
Mm-hmm.
They ain't been hood in a long time, but they still subscribe that since they came from the hood, that they still got
That hood
that
mentality.
or they or not the hood mentality exactly, but they understand the hood. When
Mhm.
in actuality,
You
they
don't.
don't.
They don't.
But
You don't.
It has changed. It
yeah,
has changed from the
Exact.
time you left.
And you know what, Miss Queen, I'm not being transparent. That happened to me. I got
hey Arnold,
cussed
turn
out.
down the gain on Doc for like Mike because he's talking
I
real loud.
got I got cussed out trying to go back and help. I'm gonna go help. Them jokers said N word if you don't get your you ain't from around here. And I
Oh,
said, you know what? You're right.
oh,
You're right. Cause I don't have mold in my house. I don't have to go stand and get food in the line. Not that there's anything on, but my life. My point was my life experiences now are in a different arena of my life.
Doc, how did
Okay.
that impact? Because I remember when you told me that story. How did that impact you psychologically? And turn your mic, I mean your camera up some. People are looking at you thinking your head is chopped off.
No, it's not chopped off. I still got it. But
yeah.
I ain't gonna lie. I was hurt.
Mm-hmm.
I was hurt. But I realized I was trying to go back to a place that I hadn't been in over 30 something years.
Wow.
And
Wow.
I'm thinking, hey, but that's not who I am anymore.
Yeah,
Right. Right.
I can't relate to what those daily struggles that they're dealing with. Those are not my. That's not to say that we don't all have struggles, because you can struggle in a mansion. Okay, you can have something you struggle with while you
yeah.
living in the gated community. But the life challenges that they face are not ones I have any experience with as an adult. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I can't tell you when my light's been out. You know, I can't tell you when I opened the refrigerator and all I saw was a light bulb sandwich. But these are, and I'm not marginalizing these people. What I'm saying, what I'm pointing out is the reality of their day is much different than mine, and I was insulting coming in there trying to assert that I knew what was best for them.
Mm-hmm.
got
Yes.
funny
And
story for you. Dr. Nelson, Dr. Randy Nelson,
Mm-hmm.
who is one of the most foremost experts, and I would say in the country, but now Dr. Nelson did a lecture or a presentation over in, what was it, Doc, Barcelona, Spain.
Spain.
yeah,
And
Mm-hmm.
so now we can give him the title of being an international, well renowned expert in research and evaluations, community engagement, law enforcement engagement and training. And I've known Dr. Nelson about 30 years now. I'll never forget, I was raised in Miami
Mm-hmm.
by a mother who didn't play the radio.
Mm-hmm.
My mother made sure, and I don't want to go old school on everybody, but
yeah.
you remember those times that when the street lights went on, you better been in the house or in the fence
Yeah.
at the house. I grew up during those times, and my mother did not play. And
Mm-hmm.
so when I went off to school, I went back home to visit,
Mm-hmm.
but that's like Doc is saying, I didn't go back per se to the hood and spend that kind of time. And so
Mm-hmm.
I never forget it when I became an assistant secretary of the State Department of Juvenile Justice, and Dr. Nelson and I was traveling from Tallahassee to Miami, a place that that I grew up.
Mm-hmm.
And he'll never let me forget this story. This is before we had the cell phones where you can put your GPS
Mm-hmm.
address in there and all that good old stuff.
Yeah.
So we're driving from Tallahassee to Miami, and I'm driving.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "Well, you from here, man? Take us where we got to go." And we got lost because I was driving, and we drove around for 2 hours till I told him, "Hey, man, we lost." And he said, "How you know? And you from down here?" He said, "Man,
See?
I doubt that you from my." I mean, but hey, and so now I'm talking about Dr. Nelson, the internationally known researcher, evaluation expert, and he's looking at me saying, "How can we be lost? And you're from this place." And Doc, it goes back to the fact that when my mother said, "This is where you're going to school. You're going to go get an education. You're going to go so you can also reach back and help everybody else get a better life." The fact of the matter is, when I left Miami,
Mhm.
I wasn't per se of Miami. I love the place. I love my people that's there,
Mhm.
but I was no longer indoctrinated, if you would. And
Mm.
Dr. Nelson, he just loved to tell the story. Rod Love say he's from Miami, but that Joker, he don't know how he. I, hey, so that's the Dr. Nelson story.
Hey, but you know, and that's how we get. Uh, Many times we are trying to go back. Even now with what we're doing, we have to be mindful that these people have a idea of what they're looking for their life. We can't go in and tell them. All
Right.
you can do is go in and say, hey, here's some skills I got. Would you be interested in learning? I can't pretend to focus or act as if I know what's best for them.
Mhm.
I got to meet them where they need help at,
Right.
not where I want them to go. Everybody can't be a bootstrapper. Okay, everybody can't escape. They don't know how to tell people, no, I can't do that dysfunction with you.
And this is not a
Mhm.
cookie cutting process either. For
Right.
the audience that's watching, you're watching the sit down. Got Sister Wynn here, got Dr. Light, and the topic that we're talking about tonight, and these are topics from a self help perspective to help folks get, and particularly young people, get your arms around some of the subject matter that should help you in navigating, excelling. And the topic that we're talking about tonight is the limited economic opportunities. And we're having a conversation about, hey, you got to tighten up. You got to go out there and give 120%.
Mhm.
No matter if the person next to you looks like you
Yes.
or not, it doesn't matter. This is
And
not a participation sport.
and we got to start emphasizing financial literacy. We have to do that because we, as a group, have, I think, the third or fourth largest
GDP.
GDP if we were a country. And just to know that, just to know that we have that purchasing power, yet we own very little, next to nothing that we can even leverage for anything. We don't
But, Doc,
have,
but
we,
when we
we,
talk about GDP, and let's not assume anything for the viewing audience. When we talk about GDP, we're talking about the gross
gross
domestic
domestic
product.
product,
And,
which
and,
is,
and Doc, you want to go into what that is?
yeah, the GDP is the gross domestic product, or a totality of goods and services and the monetary value that they have in the marketplace. So, that's ours because we do buy cars, we buy houses, we buy all this stuff. We buy consumer. We watch the most TV. We buy the most music. Well, no, we don't buy the most music. We consume the most music.
Mhm.
We spend a lot of money on travel. Black folks do, believe it or not, and all of that feeds the nation. Okay, we consume more food, junk food, than any other group. Consumer goods, we consume that, but yet we're at the we're the second most impoverished group in the nation. Why? Because we own nothing. We own nothing we can leverage as a group in group economics. We don't even own an industry. And I don't mean we collectively have to own it together, but there's not a sector of the economy where we are dominant in. Okay? You got certain people that are dominating tech. You got certain people that dominate Hollywood. Certain people that dominate farming, and that type of thing. What I'm saying is that industry, those people, they dominate it, and because they dominate it, they hold a lot of weight and influence in the marketplace because they can cause shifts in the economy and shifts in the nation.
And let me kind of clear something up here too, Doc, because I want to make sure people understand this. Um, African Americans have the equivalent of one of the highest in the top 10 GDP. Well, when we talk about GDP, we're talking about the black folks spending, but GDP is based upon products and services. And when Doc and matter of fact, you fact checked us a few weeks ago. One of the things that black folk really need to focus, like a laser type focus, is to be producers of something versus consumers.
Right.
Our consumer spending is the equivalent of one of the top 10 GDP when we actually need to be producers of goods and services.
Wow. Wow.
Listen, by 2030, we will generate $1.7 trillion. That's black and African American buying power in the United States.
Oh my goodness.
That's almost $2 trillion. This
Wow.
comparable to the GDPs of Canada, Italy, and Mexico.
And,
Mm,
and, and that's
mm.
and that's cash money, but
How
then it
how
comes back
now
again.
listen. However, despite this financial strength, African Americans still lag behind other groups in the U.S. in terms of financial wellness. In
Mhm.
Mm.
2021, the Census Bureau survey of income and program participation found that households with white, non-Hispanic households had 10 times more wealth than those with black householders. The median wealth for white households was $250,000 compared to 24,000
Mm.
24,520. So it's
Oh
10
my.
Yeah,
times.
yeah.
Oh
It's
my.
10 times.
And when it's old money,
See,
that means you got to know how to finance and manage it.
Manage.
so
Right.
they've been managing their wealth. See,
Hmm.
you're right.
And that's
So
one thing that we're lacking in our generation is that old wealth.
You're right. Hey, and
Yeah.
sometimes people say, oh, wealth is that trust fund baby money.
it's
If
funny
you get it
because
to where your kids are trust fund babies, that takes away the incentive of
Mm-hmm.
them wanting to go out and expand
but
upon,
And do something
yeah,
with it.
if it's
see
just
they
given to you.
but
Mm-hmm.
listen, that's a misnomer. That's a false, because what that trust does is shields your family from losing those assets. See, if you get the right uh, trust structure, you're passing that wealth on generation to generation. That's why the wealthy have trust.
I thought that we could probably go tonight without splitting hairs, but
No.
I guess see
So you don't think trust?
you
You don't.
have and it's research out there on trust fund babies and basically articulate what trust fund babies are, not babies, but
Mm-hmm.
individuals that come from wealth, and because of the accumulation of wealth,
Mm-hmm.
when they become adults, their families have saw fit to put their wealth in holdings,
Holding
if you
part.
would, to
Mm-hmm.
where
Mm-hmm.
it's almost like a wealth managed account, to where they're getting the benefits each month or each year or each quarter
Mm-hmm.
of the dividends from that wealth. And you have some trust fund, and this is not a condemnation on trust fund, baby, but you have some individuals that they live off of that.
Yes, and
And
that should be
but
enough.
yeah, but then you have a Bill Gates and some of these other super duper rich folk that say, I'm giving my money to do the world better, and my kids will get some, but they won't get the kind of wealth that they anticipate because they want their kids to continue to work to build
Build it.
something
Mm-hmm.
for this world.
Mm-hmm.
So you do have in part what Doc is talking about, to shield yourself and your family for generational wealth. But then you got the other side, that you have individuals that, if not put in a trust fund,
Mm-hmm.
some things could happen. Number two, if put in the trust fund, it may take the incentive away to go forth and do more for yourself, or do, and you don't owe it to anybody to do
Right.
more for the world. That's,
Right. Right.
that's a moral dilemma that you might have with yourself.
And that brings me back to, I think, one of the guests we had on a while ago, Nicosia Anderson, was talking about that generation wealth, not just with the money, but with the property. You have land in your family for so long, and the next generation comes and sell it, and it's taken away from that generation.
You know
But
why they sell it?
again, liquidating assets can generate you wealth too. I mean, I know what she was saying, but I also have seen generations lose their I guess tangible houses stopped because you got two, three brothers, sisters.
Yes.
I knew he was finna go there, cause
What you say,
that.
Doc?
I say I knew you was finna go there because that is the number one way that black
It
people
is.
lose land. Right there,
It is.
the family gets to fighting over it. You got two or three people in the family that are responsible people. Then the bums want them to take all the responsibility. Y'all can tell this a pain point. They can tell, and the bums they just want a free ride. But they
Yes.
now when you get ready to sell it, oh where my share? Where's my share?
Yep.
Hey,
First one with the hand.
Doc, I mean-
hey, Doc,
And-
not my
it's-
share, but the equal share.
And know what you do? Say here's the tax bill for the last 17 years. Let's deduct that off of that top first, cause that came out my pocket.
Yeah.
We're gonna pay that back. That was a loan.
We are. I mean, as African Americans, sometimes we are our own worst enemy.
Yeah, you're
When it
right.
comes to
But,
that.
but what Doc is describing is a guaranteed method to hold yourself up in court for a long period of time, and then wind up not getting anything
Anything.
because you don't know risk management, when to call it, when to play it.
Yeah, and you know, and it's funny because Doc try not to cuss anymore. You know, I do not cuss by and large, but I came back through my dad's hometown, and my cousin tried to, when people stand up there and they think you stupid, they don't know you, but they assume that they smarter than you. That's how my dad's side of the family is. Every time you talk to them, they want to be, they slow as molasses, all of them. Okay, but they think that they the slickest thing out since Greece. And I'm sorry, I'm getting off into a dark tangent. I'm sorry. Let me leave that alone. I see.
Hey, I'm just trying to save you. I'm just trying to save you from yourself, and to our listening audience. To see, we got our executive producer here, who's co-host. We have Sister Wynn, but at the end of the day, I'm the only one that's looking at the clock.
Oh,
I don't
yes,
understand
you're
it.
right, you're right.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
But we
That
wanna
went
thank-
fast.
We want to thank our listening audience. Hey, if you have a program that you're providing services in the community, you have a business that does the community well, please call us up, 407-494-2406, and we'd love to have you on the sit down. Until then, we will be looking forward to seeing you next week. Doc Polite, we appreciate you. Sister Wynn, we appreciate you as well. Until next week on the sit down, hey, please let us know what's on your mind. We'll see you next week.
It is.